Hello, I have got a lot of questions about NIBIRU-Planet X system and what will happen in the end of 2017. I have done a video maybe 1 hour long, but it was somehow destroyed, so I will do this short one and just say first show a few pictures, then recommend some videos that you can see. NIBIRU-Planet X is close to the Earth every 3,600 years around, and it's now next time in the end of 2017, sometimes from 10th of October 2017 to 2nd, 3rd December 2017, that the magnetic power of NIBIRU will take the Earth and hold it in lock. It's probably the time, and before this flood it was 1600 BC Exodus, and before that Noah's flood, and before that Atlantis sank in the southern pole shift, which was caused by NIBIRU-Planet X System Flyby. And now I will show just a few pictures. It's from channel Nick Thomas. I recommend you can see on his channel practically every day new videos from all over the world. And NIBIRU is now hiding mostly behind the sun, and you can see this in sunrise and when the sun goes down behind the sun. It's in infrared telescope. NASA has seen it, watched it since 1963, and here are some pictures on YouTube. Now we have 25th of January 2017, so we are quite close, or NIBIRU is quite close to us, so there are a lot of pictures nowadays. Here is also from Nick Thomas, behind the sea, behind the sun, two suns. This was a channel Robert Dunn. He took pictures with floppy disk, but unfortunately the channel is not does not exist any longer, and it's also why I take these pictures because many YouTube channels disappear. There are some other. End Times 23 have some information about NIBIRU, which is also called Blue Kachina, Red Kachina by Hopi Indians, the natives in America. Suns, here is time, 24 hours time, and one can see two suns, Hopi prophecy. So there are a lot of videos that it's quite obvious that it's real. It's difficult now to deny NIBIRU, and there are described sequences what will happen, and it's described 7.3 weeks until the pole shift, sudden pole shift, from the day when we see on the northern hemisphere of Earth that NIBIRU system moves quite a lot, and we will see two suns. Then from that day we could count 7.3 weeks to the sun pole shift, and NIBIRU has elliptic orbit, and will come from south, from down against towards the sun and the earth, and it moves opposite or orbit than how we move around the sun, and it will go between Mars and Jupiter, and it has a massive magnetic power that the Earth will be influenced by the magnetically, and there are described sequences that first 9 days the Earth will wobble. You can see it on video, the pole shift of Planet X 2016 to 2017. So 9 days of wobble, 4.5 days lean to the left, then 2.5 days even more lean to the left, then 3 days of darkness, then 6 days will the sun rise in west, and 18 days slow rotation, and then 5.9 days stopped rotation, and then will come sun pole shift, and it's when the planetary system NIBIRU will remove its power and go away again, these 3,600 years, and in that moment the tectonic plates will move heavily, and it's how Atlantis, for example, sank, because it's on the Atlantic Ridge. So we have to be prepared with food, water, free energy devices would be good. Some should move to safer locations, because it's not so good. It's not good to be around close to the coast. I live in Gothenburg, Sweden normally, and it's directly on the close to the ocean, so it's not survivable for us to be there in beginning of December, especially of 2017. And in this video you can see some of the expectations, what will happen, how the tectonic plates will move. Here is the Atlantic rate, and Atlantis was here. Now it's on the bottom of the ocean. It's like Gibraltar. If you go from Gibraltar to the Atlantic Ocean, there you can see even on Google that Atlantis is there, down there, and Illuminati believe that it will rise again after this pole shift in beginning of December 2017, and it's how we will see the NIBIRU like a dragon. Some believe that it's an amorph brown dwarf star that we can see in infrared telescope, and then there are 7 planets and 3 moons, but we should have the right information already now, so it's time that we will receive it, all of us, because it's only a few months left to the NIBIRU flyby, the worst in October to December 2017. And It will be ashes, iron oxide, small stone, grindstone that can burn not only trees, but there are many houses that are of wooden. Volcanoes that have been active last 10,000 years might explode. In the pole shift, when the soil will move, and it will be earthquake, one believe like 9 Richter scale, so quite a lot of devastation. And in the beginning of December, the pole shift make the water of the oceans, it might be hundreds of meters high, so it's not so one shouldn't recommend to stay in Florida, for example. The pole shift is supposed to take some half an hour only, so and of course electrical grid cannot be working, internet, telephone, cell phones will not work, communication, how can we communicate then? And one have many things we should be discussing in 100 years now, and we have now 25th of January 2017, and I would say that most of people have no idea about such a big event, which has been well known. There is literature about how it was last time. Exodus, Colburn Bible is there is a description how it was last time. The Egyptians has described, and in Bible there are passages about 3 days of darkness and how we should prepare. In this video there are suggestions how the tectonic plates will move. So if somebody will start to build a house now, it's not such a good idea. It's much better to build some bunker or somewhere where you can survive. So it's, for example, India. One expects that a real devastation there. It's about how poles have changed the last times. So and some expect a big pole shift this time. There is some information about how one believes that the equator will look like in the end of from the end of December, or actually from the beginning of December, the new one. And I have seen some pictures that was like if you take the current equator and go to below Togo there and take some 30 degrees, so that the new equator will look like that. But we should know by now from those who are hiding the information. Alexandria library in Alexandria some 48 years before BC was burned down, and many believe that it was a false flag, that the Illuminati wanted to have the literature, so it's the literature that is hidden in Vatican library now. And here are some prediction, or some believe how, for example, the USA will look like after the pole shift, that much of Florida will not, will go under the water, and even that there will be a big channel, or Mississippi River will be really big, and even California, of course California will be influenced by pole shift heavily, and it's like, be careful in coast, you should move, relocate temporary. It's how maps are expected to look like after the pole shift. There is a lot of information, and I highly recommend David Mead, this video on NIBIRU-Planet X 2017, and David Mead has also written a book, Planet X, the 2070 arrival, and he says the same, that not before 23rd of September 2017, it will come after that. And then there is retired Special Forces John Moore. It's a video from his speech from 2008. He has followed NIBIRU a quarter of a century, more than that, so it's a very interesting. I highly recommend this video. Another is CIA agent exposes Planet X. Then Bob Dean, Sergeant Major, retired, was 2008 on Project Camelot, and was interviewed by Kerry Cassidy. He says also NIBIRU will come at latest 2017, and he speaks about some of the problems and the constellation, how will come NIBIRU, that the Earth will be between Sun and NIBIRU, I believe. Another one was Robert Harrington, who spoke about NIBIRU, I believe 1993, and shortly after that he died. So many believe he was assassinated with carcinogenic substance. He spoke to Zecharia Sitchin, who wrote a book about NIBIRU and the Anunnaki, but unfortunately Zecharia Sitchin, some scientist says that he couldn't the language really, so that he has had some agenda, and also that he was a Freemason. So there are some questions about his work. And here is that NIBIRU has elliptic orbits, and will go the opposite direction, move opposite direction than the Earth. And Malachi Martin, who was probably assassinated in 1999, he has told about different things that are covered up, and one of them was NIBIRU, and that Vatican is preparing, but they didn't tell us. Here is Marshall Masters. Maybe you have seen a video on my YouTube channel when he spoke via Skype in Prague in July 2016. So he has written a lot of books. His YouTube channel is his page is jossa.com, so I recommend also his books are also about how to prepare mentally, how to build communities. So I recommend it also. And Bob Fletcher speaks about Nibiru, Steve Quayle, and many others. Now it's Nibiru so close, so many people are wakening up to the fact that it's covered up. Many astronomers have been killed, assassinated, to silence them so they wouldn't tell us about Nibiru. Yeah. And maybe you have seen a film with Leonardo DiCaprio before the flood, and the film is supposed to cover climate change, which is nonsense, but actually the name of the film is Before the Flood, and there are quite Masonic information there, subliminal, and also it was released 13 months before the real flood in beginning of December of 2017. So Illuminati are telling you about the flood, but not really. You must understand their language, and it's the same as Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg, which is in Germany close to the ocean, and the most of German people have no idea about Nibiru, but they have built a very tall building which the ceiling looks like ocean waves, and and also the timing, they open the building partially 13 months before the flood in the beginning of December 2017, and they had the real opening ceremony now the 11th of January of 2017, which is 11 months to the real flood. So it's like right in your face, but they don't tell you. And also here 22 is very special number for Illuminati. So instead of that the German government would tell the people, flood is coming, prepare, move to south of Germany, and we will prepare with food and water, and everybody have somewhere to stay. No, instead they do this, and the faked immigration, the stage immigration, which was before in the USA also stage immigration. So it's so evil. I call this building a monument of evil, like Georgia Guidestone or other songs, videos. You can see actually Illuminati information, what they are planning to do during Nibiru flyby. And if you actively watch Video Guide of Lady Gaga, the art pop film, you can see that it begins with Nibiru, really, and so there is a lot of subliminal information. Katy Perry and Super Bowl also, there is quite visible Nibiru reference, but they don't tell you. And Swedish songs, I'm from Sweden, Loreen Euphoria, she won Eurovision. It's like European Super Bowl ceremony, and we know that it's not really these. It's like staged elections. It's the same. The song which win Illuminati knows at least 1 year before or long before that. And another Swedish song, Europe, the final countdown, is also about Nibiru. It's when the song is from 1986, and the Illuminati had seen in telescope Nibiru 1983, but of course they knew about it the whole time from the literature they have kept for themselves. So if you look at some events, so 1915 genocide of Armenians in Turkey, 1.5 million people were killed, murdered. There is the Noah Ark was found on Mount Ararat, and it's really the Armenians in Turkey there. So I believe really that the genocide has with the Noah Ark and with it to do. Also there were murdered 18 girls, raped and satanically sacrificed on the cross. 666, Satan, as you know. In 1917 in Portugal, 3 children have seen something that is described in 3 Secrets of Fatima, and some believe that it's about pole shift in 2017. And one of the girls, her name is Lucia, like Lucifer. And then 1983, the NASA, Vatican, has seen Nibiru, and there was a satanic mass in Vatican. A 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi was raped and murdered. So it's the celebration that Vatican priests, who are many are Satanists, how they celebrated the Nibiru. Then 86, it was this Europe song, the final countdown, and I believe 1986 that Ronald Reagan changed some law that, with other words, journalists can lie, really. And 1986, Ronald Reagan spoke in United Nations about extraterrestrials. If they would come, he knew that they exist. 1996, 25th of December, which is highly satanic day, a date when they sacrifice people. Girl, 6-year-old John Benninger Ramsey was murdered, and the places where he was born and where she died, Colorado and Atlanta, are very specific, and it was 21 years to the pole shift and 21 in 777. So it's how Luciferians think. Then there is 1996, Princess Diana was sacrificed to the goddess Isis in Paris. Paris is Par Isis, and some say that she knew about Nibiru, but it's 10 years to Nibiru. Also the film Titanic was released. 2007, 10 years to the Nibiru. A 4-year-old Madeleine McCann was sacrificed. She was taken from Praia da Luz, Lucifer in Portugal. So it's no coincidence, I don't believe so. Then 2012 Whitney Houston was sacrificed, and it was this song of Loreen that I telling you from Eurovision that is about Nibiru and what the Illuminati want to do. In September, 23rd of September 2012, Madonna had a concert in Washington DC, and Madonna is involved in this Kabbalah and this worship of Isis, goddess Isis, and it's a very specific date for what the Illuminati are planning for the 23rd of September 2017. Also this full moon, the last full moon, 12th of January 2017, a young girl, 12-year-old girl from this country, Michaela Patricia Musikarova, was sacrificed to the goddess Isis in Paris, like Princess Diana these years before, 20 years before. So it's like the Illuminati are not functioning like we do. Here is the Vatican telescope Lucifer, and here you can see some of the song. If you watch Europe, the final countdown, this video, you can understand if you listen and watch actively, so you can understand that it's about Nibiru and that they actually want to leave the Earth during the flyby. And this, if one understands Illuminati coded language, it means extinction for the other, or the rest of us, 7 billion people. It's about that they will leave the Earth. It's Egyptians, pyramid. Another video is Lady Gaga's Guide, an art pop film. There is described also, it begins actually with Nibiru representation and also what they want to do, and it ends with a lot of Freemasons that are all over the world, many. Here is Katy Perry on Super Bowl 2015. It is also a representation of Nibiru, but they don't tell you to prepare. This is the Swedish Loreen Euphoria from 2012. She won, and 17. It's the year. It's how they do. They code. They put codes. The video is 3:32 minutes long, but you can see when you stop, different numbers can have different meaning, like 44 means death. So if you watch videos that are done by the Illuminati, so you can follow what they are telling you subliminally. Fallen ages. And here is Jim Carrey, who is showing his tongue and make an Illuminati pyramid, and on his chest is an astronaut with satanic horns little bit, and like telling you we are leaving the planet and you can die here. This was a song, Eurovision 2007, with beings looking like those that are covered up, that we should know that they exist, but they show us them 10 years before the flood, and also it's the year Madeleine McCann was sacrificed. Even Russia today, even though Russia today speaks about NIBIRU, so Roscosmos, which is Russian, with the Illuminati, so subliminally they show you this big planet and tell you that it's about something else, but they don't tell you that NIBIRU is approaching. So I know the information about NIBIRU from Illuminati themselves. There is an Illuminati channel, Like Killers, and they are telling you what they are planning, quite a lot of what they are planning and about NIBIRU, that they knew about it at least 2013. There are other Illuminati channels or channels that speak about the day 23rd is now hiding mostly behind the sun, and you can see this in sunrise, and when sun goes down behind the sun. It's in infrared telescope. NASA has seen it, watched it since 1963, and here are some pictures on YouTube. Now we have 25th of January 2017, so we are quite close, or NIBIRU is quite close to us, so there are a lot of pictures nowadays. Here is also from Nick Thomas, behind the sea, behind the sun, two suns. This was a channel, Robert Dunn. He took pictures with floppy disk, but unfortunately the channel is not does not exist any longer, and it's also why I take these pictures because many YouTube channels for this flood, it was 1600 BC Exodus, and before that Noah's flood, and before that Atlantis sank in the southern pole shift, which was caused by NIBIRU-Planet X System Flyby. And now I will show just a few pictures. It's from channel Nick Thomas. I recommend you can see on his channel practically every day new videos from all over the world. And NIBIRU 3,600 years around, and it's now next time in the end of 2017, sometimes from 10th of October 2017 to 2nd, 3rd December 2017, that the magnetic power of NIBIRU will take the Earth and hold it in lock. It's probably the time, and before. Hello, I have got a lot of questions about NIBIRU-Planet X system and what will happen in the end of 2017. I have done a video maybe 1 hour long, but it was somehow destroyed, so so I will do this short one and just say, first show a few pictures, then say, recommend some videos that you can see. NIBIRU-Planet X is close to the Earth every